children. It is an international embarrassment. It is a slap to us as Nigerian citizens that we have one of the highest number of out-of-school children in sub-Saharan Africa. Maternal mortality rates. Many of our women are dying because they cannot access quality health care. Infant mortality. So, if they say they want to change the national anthem.
They say they have already.
Okay, they have changed the national anthem. They should try to change the dollar, naira, the exchange rate. They should take it back to what it was in the 70s and 80s when the naira and dollar was almost in the same class. They should please do that. They should also change the high level of unemployment. The unemployment in this country, it is heartbreaking.
These are issues that have been on for
that is
for
what
some
I am.
time
That's
now.
what I'm trying to say.
What's your take on the timing of this change?
The timing. Your house is on fire. Your house, or let's take your boxers or your clothes, the clothes you're putting on. This clothes I'm putting on now, if it is on fire, will I be running around looking for someone selling ice cream, or going to look for somebody that is dancing masquerade outside my house? That is insanity. You will describe me as someone who has a mental health issue, a serious one, a top mental health issue, because my first action will be try to quench the fire or throw off the burning clothes. Your house cannot be on fire, or ants cannot be running inside your clothes, and you're going to ask somebody what's happening out there. So you can look at it that if we're talking about timing in terms of changing national anthem or whatever anthem we want to adopt or want to choose for ourselves, what makes us a country that is functioning is these things that I'm mentioning. Our out-of-school children
are taken care of. Nigerians don't want to hear anything like this. Would we ever get to that point where we would completely have unemployment eradicated, where we would completely have all of these issues completely gone, Mufasa?
You know, there can never be a time when everything will be completely gone. Like you rightly said, there has to be, you know, a starting point. Okay, if you don't activate something, you know, it definitely means that you are not really interested in making that thing to change.
We cannot doubt the fact that this is hold on, first, we cannot doubt the fact that this is not the only bill. Or it's now a law, but this is when it was a bill. That's not the only bill that was on at that time. There were other things, there were other conversations that have been made, there are other steps that are being taken. So we cannot say that the government halted every other thing happening,
you know, so,
in a particular state.
Excuse me?
In a particular state, yes, go on.
No, I'm talking about the National Assembly,
okay.
Not even a particular state. So we know that they are not interested in the welfare of Nigerians. You know, these are self-serving, so-called honorables and distinguished gentlemen. You know, they like giving themselves fancy titles and, you know, accolades.
How does changing the national anthem stop every other thing happening in Nigeria?
Now, it does not even need, we shouldn't be having this discussion. We shouldn't be having to be discussing national anthem in a situation where Nigeria is in a dire strait. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Just a little spark. I'm sure they are not even in tune. I just told you yesterday I was somewhere and somebody stole my phone in a place where you expect responsible to, you know, to be. So like I said, it will get to the point where the poor who have nothing to feed on other than the rich. And if it gets to that point, even the so-called honorables and excellencies, that they will not have any place to hide. We're out of a situation, securities and so we don't want Nigeria to get to that level. But from the look of things and the way our so-called leaders are handling the predicament of the people, I'm afraid is gradually getting to that level. So instead of us to be having serious national discussion that borders on welfare, that is my concern. It's not national anthem. What are we changing national anthem for? And like I've said before, They will pay themselves sitting allowance. Yes. Accord. They are meant to serve us. There's a social contract. And if you are violating your own part of the bargain, it's our responsibility as a people to call them to order. And that is what we are doing today. And if they are not appreciating this calm, no guarantee you yourself.
Let's keep saying that's their
interests is in national anthem, but they are not looking at the fact that most of our doctors, our skilled workers, are massively migrating. That is, Nigeria is facing serious brain drain. It's thrown open. What happened in Afghanistan, that they were trying to hold on to an American plane. The airport, in fact, the gate will be pulled down because people will massively migrate. So there is massive migration. Okay. That's what they should focus on, not national anthem.
Yes, I must bring in this particular question. Seen various comments on this, is that this passage was so express, and a lot of people feel like there's an underlying.
And for them, the only way to keep the people talking is, bring in such trivial issues, as trivial as coming to talk about national anthem. The question I'm asking, I'll keep asking, what is wrong with the former one? Is there anything about the former one that says Nigeria must die, or is there anything that said God shouldn't bless?
It's really not about
how many nations
it's
of
about
the world?
What does the new one entail?
It's not new.
Let's see. Yes, it's new now, but it's actually old. But we like to call it the new one. Mm-hmm. But it's not about what the other one, Arise to Converge, doesn't have. It's more about what this one has. That Nigerians need right now, to change the mindset of Nigeria. Definitely continue the conversations that we have on the other stories. Please stay.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blow.
I have fought very firmly.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, say I get annual levy where they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We would don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
Kasali,
Kasali, I hope so my car don't ready. I get interview in 30 minutes.
Okay, you don't ready. I just the last minute instruction where you give me yesterday. Now in the cause more delay.
Which instruction?
Maybe now you say make I change the meter, make you no read again.
Which time I make you change meter? I won't send them to. Like Kasali, my electrician, make you come house, call me do my meter so that you don't go to read again. You the electrician?
The electrician.
Yes, no.
Where be say they no want to pay NEPA bill again, Abi? Oga, you know good now. You don't use them. You know they behave like all these stiff people.
What you change for your motor? What you change for?
Two lights. Fuel gauge. Speedometer.
For what you know? You for come over home my motor. I better identify for me.
Okay. Now don't do something we corrupt. And something come backfire. Now go come they find how to dodge them.
What you talk?
They greet you.
Corruption not in my
This
country.
message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, I don't talk and say, water and not be enemy. During come. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me take come.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade.
Welcome back. The show continues right now. There's a particular topic that we have been discussing for some time now, and that's on minimum wage. This story is centered on that. Trade Union Congress has accused the federal government of being nonchalant about deliberations on the new minimum wage. President of the TUC, Festus Osifo, made this disclosure in an interview with newsmen. The labor union threatened to embark on a strike if the issue is not resolved. Recall that in the last few months, labor unions and the federal government have been locked in negotiations over a new minimum wage, with the former giving an ultimatum of May 31st. Labor had initially demanded a 615,000 naira minimum wage, but reduced it twice, now at 494,000 naira. The government and the organized private sector had initially proposed 48,000 naira and 54,000 naira, which were also rejected by the labor. According to Osifo, the new tally with the nation's economic realities. So will 419,000 naira tally with the nation's economic realities? Look at the amount that the labor are asking for, even though some Nigerians are looking at it on both ends. But I would really like to know what you think about this. Do you see saying we will go on strike if these negotiations are not completed?
Well, I hope the TSA is not, they're not just going to back, but live up to what they're saying. When you look at the present minimum wage converted to dollars, how much is it? How much is the salary of the least political appointee in this country? As an economist, when I go to the markets, I can feel the pulses of the people. I can, because I'm also a citizen of this country, I go to the market. I was in the market a few days ago. When I was growing up as a child, we used to make fun that gari is a poor man's food. But I can tell you today, if you have a basin of gari in your house, you are now a VIP, very important personality. And you are paying someone less than 100,000 as a minimum wage. That money can't even take the person to back home. I'm talking about transportation. I'm not talking about other things. The multiplier effect of the skyrocketing prices and the high cost of goods today is crushing homes, crushing families. If it is something that would direct Nigeria is too high. Politics have become an industry where people go and feed fats. They milk the cow and then put the droppings for the masses. We have a lot of potentials to meet up that payments. We are not going to crash. We have,
as an economist, is it something you would advise Nigeria to do now, to pay that amount as a minimum wage?
The government should slash down the cost of governance so that they can mop up resources from there and take care of the citizens,
and
the
we'll
workers.
be able to maintain that payment.
If they have the political will, they can maintain it.
That's all we need, political will. We have the money.
If they have we have the resources in this country. I just gave you an instance that politicians, we've been hearing on the news, people stealing 100 billion, 80 billion, and a billion is about 1,000 million. All that money can be used to take care of the workers of this country. One man sitting in one man's account. So if they want to sustain it, they should slash down the cost of governance, channel some of those resources to the country, to the citizens, to the people. And we have a lot of industries that are dead that can be revived. Instead of overtax, you tax them here, you tax them there. Open up industries, open up the economy, empower people. You will tax the people to death, and the people are hungry. You're still taxing them. You are even taxing their hunger because they can't afford to buy the basic food, the basic necessities. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Some of the items stated there: food, shelter, clothing. These are basic necessities. And when the minimum wage cannot take care of your basic necessities, what are you really working for?
Dema feels that Nigeria, or thinks that Nigeria can handle such an amount as minimum wage for its workers. Let's hear you, Mufasa.
No, well, I know that one thing is calling it minimum wage. Another thing is looking at it from the angle of a living wage, okay? Most times I know that when they negotiate for any time where negotiation comes down, and if we are considering the prevailing circumstances, the current economic reality, there's nothing wrong in making such demand. But my own quarrel, you know, my own exception to this is that doesn't mean that we now have settled for the balkanized state of our economy, to the extent that we just believe as labor that things can never get better. You know, because it's only when you have such notion, that's when you now say, okay, let the lowest civil servants be paid 615,000 naira. And for me, that goes to show that our naira has completely been turned into tissue paper. In America, if that happens, in America, that's why I started by saying that does it mean that if we were able as a people to remedy the economic situation to the extent that the naira is further strengthened, the country now starts having to see the light rise downwards to also meet the reality when it comes. I'm sure that is going to be a tall order, you know. So for me, I would have expected Labour to mount pressure on the government to look into those moribund industries, to look into the state of our refineries.
While the government is looking into all of those things, what happens to its workers?
Good. That's why I said that. How do you now reconcile that? I don't want to even begin to look at states, because we are looking at federal workers now. There are state governments, state governors who cannot even meet up with the
they
new
cannot,
wage bill.
or they have not. Resources not being available. Why?
Now, most states in Nigeria rely on federal allocation to run their state. You understand? And when you look at how the budgets for capital and recurrent, even if you want to use all the allocations to pay salaries, you might still not be able to meet up when you want to look at what is being demanded by labor. You know, and also it must also trickle down to the local government. Then organize private sector. It must also reflect too in that regard.
Did you hear the
So
recommendations that Tema actually came up with?
I listened
yes,
to.
looking at that recommendation now, do you think we'll still be able to afford that?
No, when you talked about bringing down the cost of governance, I agree with him. You know, I agree with him. There's no reason why a commissioner will have retinue of PAs and SAs.
So if that is
no
done, we
good.
be able to
that is why I said no.
It is
not. It is not. It is unrealistic. Why I said so is this demand. You know, if you have paid 30,000 naira before, let's say 40,000, and before you can go to the market and comfortably cook a pot of soup and stew for 15,000, which is more, which is even high, but a decent pot of soup for 15,000. Now with 50,000 naira, the traditional, yes. No, I'm telling you what is there out there in the market.
First, only like you spend so much.
No.
I know the Imam mentioned a cup of gari being 300.
No, he didn't mention it. That's what I'm telling you. I said I don't know. Perhaps you live in a penthouse and you have retinue of servants who go to the market for you. It's still okay. You're a big woman and I understand. But
so you need to consider us.
You need to consider us because we go to the market.
Okay.
And we know what the people are passing through. So NLC and TUC, they're equally looking at the current prevailing circumstances. Now, my quarrel is, have we now settled for what is the state of affairs now?
So you're
to the extent that
saying...
What I'm saying is Labour should also channel their energy to a moribund. They should look at critical sector of the economy because not everybody is a civil servant. So if the government can satisfy civil servants, what do you not do with those people who are hustling on their own? Because some persons will tell you that they don't increase your salary. Landlord will tell you, say, Bobs, I've added to my rent. So, and it rubs off on those people who are not benefiting from this. And we have more people who are not civil servants than people who are civil servants. They can cause problems for the society. So Labour, why also, advocating for a living wage? They should call it a living wage, something that can meet up with the current reality. They should put more pressure on our moribund industries, our refineries. Look at Port Harcourt refinery. They told us that it's going to be operational for 2 weeks. Now it has become a 2 weeks of eternity. Like when they say Christ is coming, and that is what it is. So Labour should also, we want a Labour that is vast, that, also talk about not every time wage. They should also, it is their responsibility to ensure, because both those who are not even civil servants are looking up to Labour to mount pressure on the government to make life better for Nigerians. So by and large, as they are making these demands, they should also put all the variables on the table. What about people who are not working? Exactly. What about organized private sectors who will tell you that they cannot meet up, and that's when they are going to fold up?
We're not saying they should take their eyes off. We're not demeaning the
the governance. As the largest, most populated country in Africa. We used to also brag that we are one of the largest economies in Africa. Our economy is like it is shut down. It needs to be opened up. Most states, just as my learned colleague said, what they do at the end of the month, they go to Abuja and they share revenue. We are not creating wealth. We need to be creating wealth. We are not supposed to talk about unemployment in this country. We have abundant resources. We have gold everywhere. Look at this trash you see people dumping everywhere. There's a lot of money from it.